It's like mostly because I get like 2 likes, so it'd be nice if no one could see that.
Yes. I used to deal with was plug it in, unplug it, and plug it back in again.
I mean, for me, it was like my parents like always looked at me like to fix anything electronic.
Oh yeah.
So it was always like something's broken. I'd literally show up and I just like unplug it, plug it back in. They're like, oh,
There you go. Yeah.
Derek, such a good job, good boy. Thank you. Now go away.
Yeah. Now leave. It's true.
Go back outside.
Yes. What was that? I was gonna talk about something. I don't remember what it was now. Because we were talking about like the rice. Oh,
Sweet rice. How the sweet rice is for dinner.
yes.
So Derek, go back outside.
Yeah, there you go. That was a big thing too.
Yo, yeah.
That was legit. That was good stuff. Dude.
I actually never. I ate too much of it as a kid, so I can't eat sweet rice.
That's unfortunate.
Like,
Hey, but
again.
number one, definitely get it on Saturday. Pudding d'oeuvre.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, the whole crew. We're going.
Yeah, it's like a 8-man crew. It's gonna be a big team.
It's gonna be legit.
We're gonna take a whole table.
Eric and I spent probably a solid hour and a half yesterday discussing the logistics of me getting a personal assistant.
As long as I get paid first. I don't care.
Yeah, that was a fun conversation. And it was like, I don't want to disclose numbers, but then we realized that we would have to pay the personal assistant more than we're getting paid right now.
Well, considering the company would pay for the personal assistant probably.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, at this moment in time, not logical to do, but would be very nice.
Yeah, well, it was funny because you just got to a point where you were just like, you could just, it's so much to do.
Yeah.
Where like the simple things like doing your laundry would be so nice to just call somebody and be like, hey, can you find somebody to do my laundry?
Yeah.
Like I'll pay them or I'll pay you. Just get the laundry done.
I'll pay them or I will pay anyone.
Right, at this point, I'll pay anyone. But it's just
legit.
like, just being able to like shovel off like all the mundane things that have like, you know, the everyday life things.
Yeah. So if you're on the fence, if you're on the fence about getting a personal assistant, I say you do it, and then let me know how it goes, so then I can get one.
I'm still listening to all our voices. Like this episode is still brought to you by coffee.
It's,
No,
yeah,
absolutely. I haven't even taken my first sip.
It
yet.
is 6:06 in the morning or 6:08 or whatever that time says. It's very early, and it's like we've been having shoots every day for the last few weeks, and it's like. Oh, goodness. It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. We're not complaining, though.
No, it's just a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's just there is a lot going on. And it's actually, and this is the difference. Well, this is like, goes back to a couple episodes now where we're talking about living maxed out and then just doing a bunch of busy stuff. So, like, when you live maxed out, you have to prioritize and you have to rebalance. This isn't the topic for today, but it's just a fun little thing to talk about, I guess. But yeah, you do have to find that rebalance where you, like now we're working a little bit harder than we did a few weeks ago. So now our bodies need to adjust to that. It's almost like going to the gym. When you first start going, like you feel exhausted like after a regular session, but you do that same session 3 weeks later and you don't feel affected anymore.
Yep.
Your body's like adapted to it. You know?
If you're not always tired, like personally at least, if I'm not always tired, it's because I'm not doing enough stuff. You know, it's like there was definitely times in my life where I was just coasting and being super unproductive and just like, listen, like whatever, I work my job, I pay my bills, and that's it. Like I don't want to do anything else. And now this is the exact opposite of that, where it's all like like let's just keep pushing and doing things and just keep going.
You know what? I said it on the podcast and I said it again last night. I said it to Becky and I was like, listen, I don't have any regrets of anything that I end up accomplishing. Like, even though I'm just maxed out, I'm just doing stuff all the time. Drive here, drive there, go there, do this, have dinner here, have lunch here, meet these people here, do this. Yeah. And it's like, if I can fit all of that into one day, like, I feel this deep sense of satisfaction because if I didn't go out on a limb to be able to prioritize, to be able to do all these things. I mean, it might sound simple, but like, I wouldn't have been able to do it.
I tell you, falling asleep is not a problem anymore.
Oh no.
Oh no.
No, if you have a hard time sleeping, like listen, get maxed out for a week and tell me how you sleep.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time I was like up late because I couldn't sleep, like because I was tired. Like no, absolutely not. That's like a switch now. So there's a plus on that side.
Listen, I'm cooked if I go to bed like later than like 11. Like I have to take a whole day to like compensate the next day.
Yeah, absolutely. If I go to bed later than 11, like you'll hear it in the morning when I'm here.
It's crazy. It's like, and also the active decision of having to go to sleep. Like, there are times where I go home like at 10 o'clock, 10:30, and it's like, okay, like I want to do this thing, and I'm like, nope, can't do that thing.
I'm gonna cook myself. If I do.
Can't do that thing. Cannot. And it's not even like, oh, I'm gonna go play a video game. It's like, oh, I can edit this thing, or I can set that to render, and it's like, nope, gotta go to sleep now.
That's right.
Time to get some rest.
Yeah, it's kind of funny the way that things work.
Yeah,
I mean, I can take this from the other side too. If we're just talking about like what we're doing, you guys are basically like full-time plus here in the studio, and I still have my full-time job, and I do the plus. Like all of my free waking moments, like, oh, I have 15 minutes here. Oh, I can set something up to render now. Oh, I can get this done. I can start chopping this up. I can organize this. I can do this. Schedule these posts. It's like you don't have any free time if you don't want it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not like, that's why we like talk about it a lot. Like, just schedule your days off. Like, you have to get it in front of yourself. Once you get to this point and you get to that maxed out and you're pushing the boundaries, like, you have to schedule your time.
Well, you have a lot of time if you know how to manage it well. Like, nickel and dime, you don't realize how much time that you actually lose. If you have 15 minutes here, 20 minutes here, lose 30 minutes here, 20 minutes here again.
Yeah.
If you wasted 20 minutes 5 times a day, that's an hour.
More than an hour.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right. Math. Quick maths.
Just like as I was doing the calculation, so that I don't say like the wrong number. But like for all of you who listen to the show and are like, oh yeah, you guys talk about like overworking and doing all this stuff, and you don't put your money where your mouth is. You record for an hour and then go home and do stuff. Like this is again not saying that I'm a better worker than everybody else, but like my schedule right now is 58 hours a week without travel time.
Yeah,
like that's not including the stuff that we do like not on the clock.
Yeah.
So it's like,
so I'm relaxing right now. What are you doing? I'm editing this video.
Yeah, exactly.
Granted, the positive thing to it is that most of those hours we do spend doing things that we do love to do.
Yes, absolutely.
And that makes this a lot easier. If you're doing things that you really hate doing, then 58 hours is, and then not having the time to do things you want to do, that is just, whew.
Yeah, 58 hours at a dead-end job is like, that's miserable.
Yeah, that's a bad
that's I'd rather run through a wall.
Benji remembers for me, I mean, we had a show, I was doing 70 plus. Like, I mean, probably real close to 80. Like working three jobs, 2 part-time, 1 full-time, doing the radio show. Like between everything that I did, I was maxed out at like probably 85 hours a week.
Yeah. Wow.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot of time.
I did it.
Yeah.
Did it. Still alive. That's key right there. You're still alive.
You don't know the limit until you push it for time.
Absolutely.
That was there for a season, and then it was like, okay, well, my life's changing. I need to change too.
I tell you what, I bet you never appreciated 40 hours more than life.
Yeah.
After that, like doing the 40 hours, I bet that was like amazing.
Well, you don't. That's when you start to begin to realize how much value 20 minutes has.
Yeah.
Or 30 minutes has. Or 40 minutes has.
Yeah. We talked about doubling down the other day. And I think that's the best thing about doubling down, because then you get to really realize the value of what you do have. You know?
And it's also like squeezing time out of it. I think there's always, like, even right now in my life, I know, like, I say, oh, I got like no more time to squeeze out, but I know I do. Yeah. And it's like at every moment in your life, you're like, okay, I have no more. When you're working 40 hours a week, I have no more time to squeeze out. I have no time to do anything that I want to do. And then when you get to 50 hours a week, you're saying, I got no more time to do it. And then you can go all the way up to 70, 80 hours a week. And it's just, it depends on how much you want to do that thing.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, it's easy to say like, oh, I don't have time to do the things that I want to do, and it's really like a mental thing where you're saying I just really don't want to do that thing.
And you see that a lot. You have people who say that, I mean, probably have like 40 to 45 hours like on their schedule, plus have like a little family. So you have like family stuff to do, but they'll be like, oh man, nah, I'm way too busy. I can't do this thing. Like if you ask them to do that thing, but what do? They stay home and watch Netflix for 3 hours a night, or they do this or that or the other thing. Oh, dude, nah, I'm way busy, man. I can't. It's like, okay, all right,
yeah.
I see how this goes.
Yeah. Like when you said that, Benji, I was just like, that's so true, because like you have people that are like, quote unquote, that they have no time for anything. You know what I mean? They work all day, blah blah blah. But as soon as like someone calls them, like, hey, you want to go to a concert? Time's available. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because they want to do that.
Yeah, right. Hey, can you help me do this thing? Nah, man. Nah,
I'm so busy, guy.
Yeah.
Then you want to go to a baseball game? Yes.
What are we going? My kids? What kids?
It is true, and it's interesting to see people. There are certain people, like most people don't even notice that they do these things because it's a subconscious thing. Yeah. So it's like, I think everybody thinks that they're busy until you realize that you weren't as busy as you thought you were. And no matter how much somebody else works, you won't really see like, oh, I'm not busy based off of somebody else. You have to adapt your lifestyle to say like, oh wow, like me 2 years ago was like chilling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you just, and every time you go forward, you look back like, wow, I can't, like you keep overcoming these obstacles and like these greater feats, and then all of a sudden you're way further ahead, and that's the growth.
Well, think about it like a kid. Like, say you go and you start to learn how to like ski. We'll just use something obscure like skiing. You go and like you start on like the bunny trail. It's like, oh wow, this is really really cool. And then once you kind of get the hang of it, it's like, oh, I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna go ski a blue square, which is like the intermediate level. If anybody doesn't know about skiing, and it's like you go down a blue square. It's like, oh my god, my life is shit. Like, it was the most thrilling thing ever. Yeah. And then you do that a few times, and you're like, I mean, that really wasn't as fast as I thought. And then you go do your first black diamond. It's like, whoa, like. Yeah. Like, your mind is completely blown. You go back to blue square. It's like, why did I even like make a fuss about that thing? Mm-hmm. And it's one of those deals.
Yeah, you just keep growing. You keep finding the new balance and how to manage this. And it's just, you have to start. You know, if you want to get more out of your day, you have to start pushing the boundaries of your day instead of doing the things that don't exactly profit you. Now, I don't mean dollar wise. It could be dollar wise.
Just make more money.
Yeah, just make more money. But the things that aren't exactly adding to your life, you can start cutting those out and do something that you actually enjoy. And then before you know it, you'll be filling your schedule with 58 hours of things that you actually like to do.
It's true. And word of advice too, just random point, like, you don't have to tolerate toxic people.
No, not at all.
You don't waste your time.
And yeah, very true. Don't. I thought you were done with that. Sorry.
No, that's it. That was it.
But also the inverse is also true, where it's like, if you keep finding yourself not having time for a certain person or certain thing or things of that nature, it's because you subconsciously don't want to or don't care enough to do that.
That's so true. It's like a level of hierarchy. Like, yeah, I'll catch you around or do it, and you don't even realize that you're actually doing it, because you're like, oh, genuinely, I kind of want to hang out with this person, but they fall down in your order of priorities way back in your subconscious. It's like, yeah, if it's like, we'll hang out if it's really convenient. And that's really the extent of it. It's like, no, I can't make time for you here. I can't block it out. Oh, we'll see. Yeah, we'll play it by ear. And it's like, you never end up hanging out.
And to revisit something that we said with priority lists, the idea that people's priority lists are not linear and they're not relative to each other. So like, even if like, let's say Tyler and I, we want to move a couch, okay, and Tyler, it's on the bottom of Tyler's priority list and it's on the bottom of my priority list. But Tyler has 7 things on his list and I have 35. It's not the same. You know, like, it's just based off of how many things he has in his life. It's way more important for him to move that couch than it is for me to move that couch. Yeah. And we talked about that on a different show. But that's important to realize that, like, specifically with people and like friend groups and stuff like that, there will always be somebody who cares way more about a project than somebody else.
Yep.
Wow, that's really good.
It's true. Or even like things that would be considered insignificant are significant to somebody else, just because like, oh, that's my life. I have these 3 things on my priority list, so that's all I see. So they're so big and magnified. It's like, good for you, because I have 30 and I can't even see them. They're not even on my radar.
Yeah.
It's like children. Children do this a lot because children have nothing else to do. So, like, you'd say that, okay, well, we're going to go to the park on Wednesday. And then, like, that's it. Like, it's like...
We going? Or even like the dog, like, you want to go outside? It's like, well, outside.
Yeah. Like, exactly. It's like, because that's the only thing that they have in their priority list, and it's they want to do it. So like their list is 2 things. It's like that one's number 1, and you're like, I got to do the groceries, I got to fold clothes, I got to do all this stuff, and it's like going to the park's like 85 on the list.
Yeah,
it's really funny.
All right, so we have 30 seconds left in this block, but I mean, you're talking about priority lists. Well, we're gonna grab onto another little list today.
Perfect.
Yeah,
and we'll be back. Stay tuned.
We would like to thank Anchor for sponsoring and hosting the Life podcast. So who are Anchor and what do they do? Anchor is the all-in-one platform that gives you everything you need to make and publish your podcast. And best of all, it's all free. Anchor allows you to use their creative tools to record and edit your podcast. No need for any fancy professional equipment. Sounds amazing, right? And we haven't even gotten to the best part. Anchor isn't just a recording and editing platform. They're a publisher too. This means that Anchor takes care of all of the hard stuff, like publishing to Apple and Google Podcasts, so you don't have to. So what are you waiting for? Download the Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started. Another thanks to Anchor for hosting, publishing, and sponsoring the Life podcast.
That's it.
And you know,
I thought you were gonna break out in songs.
and that's why Snapchat.
and
okay.
Yeah, there you go.
So this always turns musical. All right, how we got on the topic of Snapchat? You'd have to find out if you go down and subscribe to Patreon. Then you'd get our full conversations each morning. You get the in between breaks as well as our pregame routine before we get in here.
Can you make that part of the perk? Is like you get Eric's Snapchat as like as part of
add Eric on Snapchat.
Yeah,
But you got to be on Patreon to get the name.
Hey,
pay me $1.
Well, that sounds really bad. I'm sorry. I'll just give it to you
hey,
guys.
listen, a lot of people make a lot of money doing that.
I'll give you $1 for my Snapchat.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I'm not going to be showing you the same things they show you.
fair.
What? And in that. In that case,
that was good. I mean, mental processing not working right now.
listen, I get a lot of programs running in the background.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay,
That's how
got
we
the list.
That's how we talk about being maxed out, boys. You got all those things rendering in the background. Like you try to open an internet browser, and she's a little slow.
I was telling Eric, I was like, we were listening to one of the old podcasts, and I was like, Eric, I could hear the gears grinding in my head, just like slowly just turning. Yeah, it's like, okay, we're gonna get there eventually.
All right, so we're gonna roll into this list I found on the internet, another internet list.
I found it on the World Wide Web.
Yeah.
And we know everything on the internet is true.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I pre-vetted this, so
Oh, did you?
yeah. So I mean, these more or less we can we can make a substantial point out of these things.
Scored a 65. Top of its class.
Top of its class, special education.
Yeah.
Here we go. Almost passing. This list is called 7 Rules of Life.
Yes.
So we'll rip these 7 points and just talk about some stuff. Point number 1 on the list: make peace with your past so it won't disturb your future. We've talked about that a lot. If you go back to last week's episode of the forgiveness episode, that's really the main and core concept of the forgiveness episode. I mean, if you go and steamroll dead bodies into your concrete of your past, you'll have to be forced to dig them up eventually. So make peace with that.
We've been talking about that a lot lately, but I think people need to hear it a lot because it's like easy to hear it once and be like, okay, yeah, and then you feel good about it, but then you go on and you do the same thing you've been doing forever. And then you just need that extra reminder of like, this is very important. So if you've heard the last episode and the one before that, and when you keep mentioning forgiveness, maybe it's because you really need to do this.
Was last episode the one with the zombies?
Yes.
That I was talking about zombies.
Yes.
Oh, so that's perfect. I mean, that's really the whole zombie thing.
Yeah.
Dead bodies in your concrete coming back as zombies.
This is also episode 50, by the way. So
Oh,
hooray!
yay! Eventually
Yes.
we'll do confetti and stuff. It'll be fun.
Eventually.
Well, except it won't be here because I don't want to clean it.
Fair.
Episode 100's
Eric,
fast
like,
approaching, guys.
Eric drew that line in the sand. Like, no confetti in the studio. But I think that a lot of people know what to do. Like, us as people, we know what we're supposed to do. We just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like, It's like, oh, I
absolutely.
I should clean my car. It's like, yeah, you should. When it's new, you do it all the time, and you bring it to the car wash every week, and you're like, oh, it's all nice and shiny, and then eventually it's once a month, and then once every 3 months, and then you get to the point where you haven't cleaned your car in 3 years. And it's like, I think that's what we do with ourselves as people, you know, too, where it's like, I know what to do, or we as a people know what to do. We just don't do it because we just gotten tired of it over time. And it's important to take a step back and to sometimes hear the things that we don't want to hear.
Or even the relative discomfort because you've put it off so long. Like you're procrastinating or postponing that initial pain to be able to dig it up to deal with it. That's
listen, forgiveness is your first step towards freedom.
Yo, for real.
So just keep that in mind. It may not be easy at first, but if you truly want to be free, you have to forgive your past.
Yep. And then once you're free,
and the people in it.
Yeah, absolutely. Once you're free, you can free other people too.
Yeah.
So once you can recognize it, get free, and then once you're free, you can help other people get free too, and we'll have a much better society. Point number 2 in the 7 rules of life. What other people think of you is none of your business.
Yes.
That sounds like a you problem.
Yeah,
sounds like,
absolutely.
yeah, that sounds like
that's so good. That one's really good, and a lot of people need to remember that. I know that I'm one of those people that need to remember that because sometimes I was just telling you guys a story off of Mike, but like stuff like that, like it did hit a dagger for me. You know what I mean? So what people think about you is none of your business. And I read something that, you know, it was like more of a subliminal thing, but it was just like, wow, okay. Like, and it just kind of put me in a weird place for a second. But you got to remember that like their perspective is they have no idea what you're doing. They have no idea what's going on. For all they know is like you just fell off the face of the earth or whatever the case may be, or all they know that you just stopped talking to them or whatever the case is. You know, they have no idea, or for all they know, you had a bad day and you said something out of character, and now they still hold that grudge against you. You know, so it's just important to remember that what they think of you, whoever they is, and that's the outside world, it's really none of your business. You just don't put your chips there. Just don't worry about it. Just keep moving forward.
Listen, homeboy, haters gonna hate.
Home
Proverbs 9:8.
I'd like to be part of your possum. Yes. And it's important to realize that as long as you're a good person, like in your own eyes, then what people think of you doesn't really necessarily matter at all. And it's like, if you're a good human, you know, you do the best you can. There's always going to be haters, you know, at the end of the day. So it is what it is. The GoPro just stopped recording, by the way. And that's
your comment. It just shut it down.
Yeah, it's just like I saw a picture that said that. It was all like when you're in your 20s, but you still have to look up slang, and it's all like, "Hey, what's up? My home fry and I would like to be in your possum." And it was like, okay. So there you go. Tyler is fixing the GoPro. Hold on, let me pull up my version of the list.
I charged it all night last night.
All night last night.
That GoPro just be like draining.
I don't know what to say, Tyler.
She just quit.
She just quit.
It's all right.
That's well.
She maxed out.
It's okay, Tyler. What other people think of you, including the Patreon people and us, it's none of your business.
As long as we get it back on, kicked on,
yeah.
They won't even notice.
Exactly. It'll just be just between you and us, you the listener, and us as people. Okay. 3. We're just gonna continue rolling
Number
on.
3.
The only person in charge of your happiness is you. Yes. Do not give people the opportunity to affect the way that you are happy in your life.
I want to take that a step further. The only people responsible for your success is you.
Yes.
You know. You can't, like, if some, like, all right, I've been in a, this is a lot of I've been there kind of things today, so whatever, we'll keep it rolling. I've been in a position where I had a really good friend of mine, which I truly believe he's going to be very successful one day. And he's successful now, but, like, he wants to reach a higher level of success, and I think he's going to get to that upper echelon. But for a long time, I was, like, spending a lot of time with him and just like hoping that like to help him succeed, which is a great thing to do, but I put a lot of chips in his corner, and you get very frustrated very quickly when you put all your success chips in someone else's corner and they're not moving fast enough for you. You know what I mean? So that's what happened at one point where I was just like, I just realized like it's not his responsibility to make me successful. It's nowhere near. It's his responsibility to make him successful, and my responsibility is for me. So I had to come to a point of realization where I had to take a responsibility for myself, and when I did that, happiness came along with it. You know, because now you get to a point where you don't. It's funny to say, but you can't blame anybody. Like, you have no one else to blame except you don't have an excuse to say, oh, this person didn't do it, or they didn't hire me because so I didn't have the money that I needed to do. Like, no, they did what was best for them, and you did not.
Yeah, you can't blame anybody for pulling for themselves.
Exactly. And that, I think that brings the happiness with it, because once you start doing that, when you start breaking that cycle in your mind, because then you start blaming other people for your happiness too. It's the same thing.
Well, think about yesterday's episode with comfortable, happy, uncomfortable, unhappy, things like that. It's like, okay, well, like the example keeps coming to my brain of the woman who's like, okay, I want to be comfortable and I want to be able to continue to live in this house and drive my Mercedes or whatever, but like I'm very unhappy because I hate my husband.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's, like, it's one of those leverage things. It's like, well, what are you willing to do? Do you want to be a little bit uncomfortable and be happy, or do you want to be comfortable and happy eventually? But you're not going to be comfortable and happy in the same situation that you are right now, because it's going to continue the same way, if not get worse.
Absolutely. And to build off of what Eric was saying about the speed of things, a lot of times we get stuck on the expectation of speed. Like for me, I get aggravated with people a lot based off of how fast they do things or how fast they're willing to commit to things. And just because of the nature of the way that we operate as people, I expect people to operate in that same speed, you know? And it's all like, okay, if you're going to do something, do it, you know? And that causes a lot of issues with expectation. And that's not necessarily a very healthy thing, to have expectations of other people's way that they act.
Well, I've seen it on a different side. Just I'm just speaking to you like as an encouragement. I've noticed a lot, if people don't catch the vision right away and they don't and they hesitate, like you probably don't want to bring them on your team. If that person, if you can't communicate your vision well, and or you want, like, hey, you want to do something, if they don't double down and commit right away without giving you legitimate, truthful, honest answers of why they can't or why they're apprehensive, probably leave them behind, because they're gonna bring that into the whole, like, into the promised land too.
Yeah, no, that's very true. Years ago, when I first started my first recording studio, and I remember I was still in high school. Like it was like senior year of high school when the idea came to me. And this is before I built anything. This is before I even had it. Like, this was like, I just recorded a few friends, and now I want to take it to the next level. And the people that I was working with, but recording all the time and all that, there was one person in particular where I thought he would be all about it. Like, I thought this person was going to be there till the end. And I went up to him and I told him the vision, and I told him my idea of this thing that I wanted to build. And he just did not. Like the hesitated. And then what I realized in that moment was, like, everyone who hesitated when I told him, except for one person, there was only one person who didn't hesitate. And that was the only person that I really needed, to be honest. And I didn't realize it at the time. But just having that one person gave me the motivation and the drive to push it to where I did push it to, which was a pretty. I was really impressed with it. But there was, but just being able to, like Tyler said, share the vision, and when you can see people's, like, reaction to it, and if they're not biting in that first literally like millisecond, if they're not in it and you could see it in their face, then you know that this is probably not going to be for them.
Yeah, if you don't get a yeah right away, like without like that pretense of like, hey, listen, I just have to double check with this, I have to double check that, but yeah, I'm in. Like, then you're probably not gonna.
I think
with you.
I think that's not the only metric of how this works, you know, because and the reason why I say this is because I've seen a lot of people where it's like, okay, eventually they come around and they're one of the people who motivates the project the most. And there's some people who I've seen who were 100% into it at the beginning and then just lose the flame right after. And it's like, that's not helpful to me. Yeah. You know, if you like have like this horrible bell curve of a response, that doesn't help my project, you know? And I think that it's definitely individualized, because, you know, you can't make blanket statements about everybody. But it is important just to realize that people are not required to help you with the things that you want to do.
Absolutely not. And like I wanted to just put a stamp on something I said earlier about me helping that person succeed. That I said that like it was a bad thing. It is not a bad thing. I think that like everyone has a place in their life, and like what's yours is yours. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of how much time it takes you to get there, or if you do get there. But helping the people around you get closer to theirs, because everyone has their prize in their life, and they can't take your prize, and you can't take theirs. So helping the people around you get to their prize gets you to your prize faster.
Yeah.
You know, so like I said that earlier, like I just put too many chips on his prize and not enough on mine. So that was the problem. You have to keep going for your prize, but there's nothing wrong with helping the people around you get closer to what they want. So I just wanted to throw that on top because I don't know if I translated that well.
I guess that's it. Ducks are almost here, so we're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back and try to finish up the list. Stay tuned.
All that really matters.
As long as I can hear myself talk, that's all that really
that's
matters.
all that really matters. Absolutely. That's the quote.
You ever met anybody like that?
Yeah, I got a bunch of people like
Yeah,
that.
there we go.
I just talk to talk.
I just talk to talk because I really like the sound of my voice.
Hey,
Absolutely.
Eric.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, you're recording the podcast right now? You're talking into a microphone?
Yeah.
Oh man, that drives me crazy. Like it's
What?
like like you ever meet these people like you're doing something? They see that you're physically like doing the thing that you're doing. It's not anything out of the scope or realm of normal. And they just come over like just to start the conversation, be like, "Hey,
Oh, they just say the most obvious thing.
hey, you're eating cereal right now?" Like it's like no, like no, I'm not. Where did this come from? Like. The spoon.
Snap back in there. Oh, I'm allergic to cereal.
Yeah.
They just want to have a conversation.
I get that. That drives me crazy.
I said I get that. Don't talk to me.
Yeah, he's like, I just actually don't.
Or if you want to have a conversation, like don't do that. Like,
I'm gonna start doing that to you now.
but that's fine. Cause I already know who you are, guy. Like we wouldn't have been able to have a show. I wouldn't be able to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and like hang out with you if you were like that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have been able to do it.
Fair enough. It
Like,
makes
hey
good
Tyler,
points.
hey
yeah.
Tyler, it's a nice cup of coffee you got there.
Listen, like the three of us, like starting up in the morning, we're all kind of on the same wavelength. Like we'll talk just enough.
We give we give each other like a greeting,
Yeah,
and then we just
like,
kind of
yo.
continue moving forward.
It's like if you have to talk, you only talk because it's like relevant or necessary information.
Yeah,
It's like I don't want to have a full blown conversation like 10 minutes out the rip,
basically.
and then we start the podcast.
then we go into like full talking mode. Yeah.
Sometimes that residual, depending on how long we've been here and like how close we're cutting it, like that sometimes like spills over into the podcast and nothing happens for the first 5-10 minutes.
just like okay.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so let's finish this list, boys, so we
What's the
can
list? You got it? You want me to pull it up?
we can get it out.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Alright.
I guess I'll get the list this time.
Yeah,
We've been passing responsibility on the list today. I like it.
Go.
pass the list. Welcome
That-
to the podcast, Romeo.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, there he is.
There he is.
I think it's his second. I think he barked earlier. Welcome, Romeo. We number 4.
Think so.
Don't compare your life to others. Comparison is the thief of joy.
Oh,
Correct. Just because Jeff got his new Porsche doesn't mean that you have to spend another $80,000 to get the new one. It's okay. You don't need to have the same car that he has or a better one.
That's right. Fun
Do you-
facts.
well, I'm about to say if you're gonna get the same car, assume just get the better one.
Yeah, fair.
Jeez.
He might have the best one.
Competing. No.
Don't waste your time with like a Cayman. Just go straight to the 1911.
Why compare
when you can
compete?
1911.
1911 and a 911.
Yeah.
What's up?
I said no. What I was gonna say is, fun fact. Is it Australia? I think when I'm going into social media because a lot of people
They don't-
compare on Instagram.
You can't have
So-
any guns in Australia.
Fair enough. I think it was Australia that just made a regulation that Instagram can't show likes.
Yes,
on,
that is true.
on their posts.
Listen, who wants to go to the land down under? You can't have likes. Like you can't be liked and you can't own a gun. Like,
But anyways, so this
No,
is
but yeah,
starting
that
to
is true.
spread. So it's going to like the EU at this
oh, I
point.
think
Yeah.
you know. I think probably the next place to adopt it was Canada.
It's because of bullying.
I can see that.
It's because of bullying legislation. They're having they're trying to limit the amount of stuff that can like you can give ammo to kid like the ammo that you give to kids. Like, oh, you only got 37 likes on your Facebook post, Jennifer. Nobody loves you.
Yeah.
That's why. It's like
No,
okay.
we should
yeah.
be teaching self-worth rather than getting it from Instagram.
Well, fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's number one.
I guess it goes back to that thing where you're just kind of curing the symptom
Yes.
and not really getting to the problem.
Mhm.
We were driving yesterday, me and Benji, and we saw this this porch, and it had like chicken wire netting across the front of it.
Symptoms.
And it was just like, what do you think he's trying to protect himself from? People throwing tomatoes at him?
Rabid chickens.
Yeah, rabid chickens are flying on the second floor.
Yes.
But no, it's like, that was just a funny joke. But anyways, going to the Instagram thing.
Oh, you know what? Actually, it's probably like people probably have cats, and they probably like chicken netted the whole thing off so that
There was a hole in it. There was like a hole in it so that he could like put his like arms through it.
birds. Or maybe like to like
Maybe
trap
birds.
birds.
Maybe birds. Yeah,
that's a good idea.
That's a good one.
Wow.
No, well, I was thinking first like let the cats out on the porch so that they don't just like fall off the railing.
Yeah, well, you know.
I don't know.
Well, I mean,
Right.
yeah, like a cat falls off the railing, just
We're
go buy
trying
a
to
new one. Like,
psychoanalyze this guy. It's like
We're
maybe
never
he just
gonna-
wants nets.
Maybe I'll never see him again. So, anyways,
Yeah,
he was just sitting there on the porch too. He's just sitting there, just comfortable, and I was just like, man,
tough. Luck.
I'm in my fortress right now. Government can't come in.
yeah,
I have my nets.
looking
You
down.
hear
on
that,
my,
Brian?
looking down on my people.
All right, next point.
No, we didn't even do this one.
Yeah.
Didn't we?
No, we started talking about likes and stuff.
Well, yeah, it's so. It is comparison is the thief of joy. So what I was going with on the Instagram thing is just like, do you guys think it's a good idea? That's what I was gonna ask. Yeah.
I'm fine with it. Mostly because I don't get any likes on my. I haven't
enough.
posted on Instagram in years.
Fair
But
enough. He's like, mostly because I get like 2 likes, so it'd be
Yeah.
nice if no one could see that.
yeah, but
I think that almost like rips like the heart and soul out of anything that was like
Yeah.
social media. Cause like, I mean, it's based on approval. A lot of it's based on approval and feedback.
all it's gonna do is shift the approval to comments. I was listening to somebody
Everybody
talk
comments
about,
like,
basically
thumbs up.
because
Yeah.
they were talking about like, oh, social media influencers who get paid based off of likes. How are you going to do that? And they were like, the ratio is just going to change to comments, because if you have 100,000 likes, you're going to get 10,000 comments. So it's like, okay, it's 1/10. So now we just base the things off of comments. So it is what it is.
Now,
It's the same
now,
thing.
how far is that going to go, and how far is like censorship and government regulation going to kick in on that? Like that actually really bothers me, because with like likes, it's always just positive. It's likes,
Yeah.
and they take the what's positive and twist it negative. It's like comment, you're free to go, and then it's like, oh well, you can only post like positive things if you're gonna post.
Yeah,
it's like,
it's
well
weird.
then where's free speech?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what I mean, it's one thing, okay, rules and regulations, whatever. But like, if I want to comment, like, hey, your post sucks, like,
yeah,
I don't think it'll hit the U.S.
no,
I
probably
just
not.
I don't think that we would allow it. But
Instagram would literally go out of business.
oh yeah,
thank you,
They would
First-
just
thank you,
shut
First
down.
Amendment.
yeah, exactly. Thank you, First Amendment.
Well, like, okay, so yeah, I want to make it clear. If this actually worked, I'd be down for it. Like, if it's like, hey, listen,
if
we
it
see.
solved anything, yeah.
Yes. If it was like, hey, listen, kids are getting bullied less because there's no more Instagram likes, fine.
I agree.
Whatever. It doesn't affect my life. I don't care. I don't make my money off of my Instagram page, so it doesn't really make it yet, at least. well, yeah, technically.
Yes.
Off of my Instagram page. but,
Yeah.
but like the idea where it's like, if it helped, yes. It's not helping. It's one of those like fake like appearance of helping situations where it's like we look like we're making a difference, but we're actually not.
Band-Aid on a gash.
Exactly.
So sorry for that tangent. I just wanted to know what you guys thought.
No, that was
that's
cool. That was good. I wish
Yeah.
we could have probably ran into that earlier, so we could have talked more.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, so number 5, time heals almost everything. Give it time.
Yeah.
I love how
Well,
it says almost everything. That's
give it
perfect.
time and don't let it marinate is the thing, because like time does a lot of different things where it's like
Time does not heal the gunshot wound.
Go to the hospital.
exactly that, and also like
He's like, no, I heard it on the Life podcast. It's okay.
everything's fine. Yeah,
Everything's fine.
absolutely.
This musket ball lodged next to my liver should be just fine in time.
just give it time. Yeah, but no, like there's a difference between giving something time to heal and marinating, where it's like if you dwell on an issue and you're always consistently thinking about something or somebody or whatever, it's gonna marinate. It's gonna become stronger and stronger over time. Versus if you ignore something over time, it'll eventually die.
Yeah, open wounds will fester for sure.
Yeah, anybody will tell you that, especially anyone who's been around the corner or around the block a few times. They've been through it where like things have hurt.
I've only been around one corner. I have not made it around the block yet.
Fair enough, yeah. But they'll tell you, like, you know, people have a lot of stories, and but every one of them, like they'll tell you for the most part that time was what got them through it. You know what I mean? Like in time, it does get better. It just sometimes takes a lot of time. You know what I mean? And it's important for you not to marinate it.
Yeah.
That's extremely important. Don't soak in it. You have to keep wanting to. You have to want to heal. A lot of people don't want to hear. They like subconsciously kind of like the pain.
Yeah.
You know?
Address it and then leave it be, and it will. Yeah, it's just like a broken arm. Whatever you set it, you put it in the cast, you forget it, you let it go.
Yeah.
But if you keep moving it around,
It's gonna hurt more.
it's gonna hurt more and it's gonna heal weird.
Yeah.
You know.
And also, we become different people over time, and sometimes think of what you got mad about in 3rd grade.
Jeff stole my Pokemon cards.
Not relevant today. Like it's like, but like let's say that like Jeff
that was the end of the world.
Exactly. Like because you hyperventilated because your priorities were a much shorter list, and that was a lot higher just relative to your priority list. We become different people. Our issues become different. So it's like, listen, that thing like Jenny stole my milkshake like when I was 7.
Well,
It's
she
like,
brought it to the yard and all the boys came. It was Jenny's fault to begin with. Like,
yes. It's like, okay, that's not really a problem today. So like, why should I care about it anymore? And I don't. And it's like that's it's like,
that's actually really good. Tyler's comment is even better.
I said it, and then I was like, I hope no one says anything.
I can teach you, but I have to charge.
Yes. That's how you gotta make some dollars, you know.
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, that's I agree with all that,
Including the milkshake.
including the milkshake. Number 6, stop thinking so much. It's all right not to know all the answers.
I say you think as little as possible. Actually,
Just go. Yeah. I mean, I'm a big supporter of having goals, and like, it's important to have goals and it's important to have structure, but you can't plan out every detail.
yes.
Yeah.
You just can't.
There's a proverb that says like the wise man he contemplates and ponders his steps, but it comes to a place where you can't overthink it, and you have to just trust on the things that are unknown.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes you just gotta jump, boys. Like
That's
that's really what it boils down to. It's like think as much as you want, but eventually you're gonna have to take an action.
You'll cripple yourself thinking too much.
Yeah, and a lot of times actually you strike unforeseen success just by showing up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
yeah.
Instead of psyching yourself out by thinking about it too much, just show up. Whatever happens. Don't be afraid to fail if it's gonna fail, but most of the time it won't if you just show up.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And most of the time you'll be so thankful that you showed up.
Yeah.
You know, because that's just how life works.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can even bring back to an example. Last week, it was last week or 2 weeks ago. I ended up one of my friends asked me to go play drums for them, and I thought about it, and I was a little rusty. I hadn't been playing too much, and it'd been a long time. Like, if I overthought about it, I probably would have like cooked it. But I said, you know what? I'm just gonna show up. I'm gonna feel it out. I'm gonna flow it out. I have no expectations of myself. Yo, I killed it, and
Nice.
I'm going back to play again this Friday.
That's awesome.
Nice.
And I'm sure it's gonna be like exponentially like
Yeah.
better. But like when you get into the atmosphere and everything's just flowing and it's real hot. Because I didn't overthink it and I went in with no expectations and I felt it out. I said, I'm just going to do my best. And because I showed up, made all the difference. And it took my confidence and comfortability in a split second. Like, I thought of myself down here. I went through that one quick thing just because I showed up. It's like up here. It feels way good.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's great.
All right, we got 2 minutes to finish this.
Well, that's good because we were on number 7. That's the last one.
Yay.
Oh, nice.
A nice short list. Number 7, smile. You don't own all the problems in the world.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah, it's a good one too, I guess.
Sounds like a you problem.
Sounds like a you problem. That's
Yeah.
really what it boils down to. Your problem's not my problems. My problem's not your problems.
don't worry.
Do not affect. Yeah, absolutely. Basically,
Be
Eric and I were
happy.
listening to a lot of reggae yesterday.
Yes, we were.
I consent.
Yeah, it was fun. It was actually interesting. But nonetheless, like, listen, you are the person who's in charge of your own problems. If you got problems, it's because you did them. And if somebody else got problems, it's because they did it. And there's a difference between trying to help somebody and taking over their problems.
And that's like a 95% majority rule. Is like 95% of your problems are your doings.
Yeah. And it's like, and then there's people that like to take on everyone else's problem. You want to help people. I understand, but you can't always help people because at the end of the day, you're like putting their burdens on your shoulders, and you have your problems to take care of. And before you know it, you feel like you're maxed out, but in reality, you're just stressed out. And there we go. We got all right. He's gonna find a quote. But that's really what it is. You know, you just can't help everyone. It's nice to help in small ways. You know what I mean? Like if I could help you in this very small way right now, and I can just do it now, you'll appreciate it, and I can move on, and you can move on. That's fine. But I'm not gonna like take you in under my wing and like coddle you and say, "Don't worry, I'm gonna teach you everything you didn't learn." And then like that's just taking on so much, and a lot of people do that where they want to help, but they don't know where the lines are of helping and then taking it too far.
It's true. There's a proverb that we read this morning. It says here. Oh, phone's ringing. 2 phones are ringing.
Oh, it's his iPad and his phone. I was like, what? Why is mine ringing?
Oh,
there we go.
cool.
My apologies, everybody.
No.
Cool, man. All right. Well,
Cool,
we have
bro.
we have
No,
we
we
have a
chill,
little
we
bit of time here. We read this proverb this morning. It says, "He who passes by and meddles in a quarrel that's not his own is like one who takes a dog by the ears."
Yeah.
And it's really that's it. You go by, you pass by, you see people who are having problems, you want to go and try to fix it. Best chance is don't fix it because it's like grabbing an angry dog by his ears. If you grab a dog by his ears, he's gonna bite you.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
And also the inverse of this as well. If you sign up for something, nobody else is required to help you with that project.
Right. So you should sign up for Patreon. It's
It's
only $1 a month.
Yes. but it's like, I know a lot of people who do this where it's like, okay, I want to plan a party. It's like, okay, Eric, Tyler, you're now part of this group of individuals planning this party. And it's like, yo, none of us signed up for this. You're the one who signed up for it.
Yo, way
Yeah.
too many cooks in the kitchen too.
It's your
Yeah.
problem. It's like, if you sign up for something, it's your responsibility. Don't expect other people to help you with it unless you explicitly ask them to help you with it beforehand.
That's right.
And that's it.
Thank you for listening to the Life Podcast Show. We really appreciate all your support. We meet every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning just to talk and share our perspectives on everyday life situations. If you haven't already, please share this with your friends and give them a chance to join the conversation. Also, if you liked what you heard today, rate our podcast. The higher the rating, the longer we can keep this going. And a special thanks to our future sponsors that will soon partner with us on this journey. If anyone would like to contact us, please email us at thelifepodcastshow@gmail.com. One word. That's thelifepodcastshow@gmail.com. Be blessed and have a wonderful day.